For more on all this, let's bring in Rich Lowry. He's National Review Editor-in-Chief, and Brianna Lyman, the Federalist correspondent. Brianna, first to you, 9 points. That was the margin of the victory here, and that was a big margin, 9 points. But when you consider everything that she represented, everything that she said about how much she hated the things that the district is famous for, I'm surprised it wasn't 20 points.
Yeah, and when you consider that President Trump and Congressman Green also won by a 20-point margin, you would have hoped that Matt Van Epps could have won by a double-digit margin. And in fact, I think this race may have been even closer had the media not elevated this Democrat to the national level. We did see a blitz from Republicans in the past week. Speaker Mike Johnson was down there, more campaigns, more ads, which I do think encourage Republicans to turn out. The problem is that is not going to be a sufficient strategy in November when you have dozens of close races. So the thing is, what do Republicans do? Republicans should just do something, right? The only big thing they can tout right now is the one big beautiful bill. So Republicans should use this as a reason to say, let's get more stuff done so that apathetic Republicans turn out in November, whether or not we can show up there.
Right. Well, at least the White House has got the truth squads out, talking about affordability and what's coming and moving on that issue. But at the very least, Rich, the South is not ready for an AOC. No. That made me sleep well last night.
No, so I think it's a mixed bag for both parties here. 9 points is relatively narrow in that district, but it's not 1 or 2 points.
Right.
This guy is an impressive guy. He was an impressive candidate. He's going to be a good member of Congress, whereas she just shows the peril Democrats have if they nominate progressives out of step culturally with their districts. Even, I'm not from Tennessee. Even I know you don't attack country music in Tennessee,
crazy.
Right? It's crazy.
It was crazy.
But they're going to nominate.
She wasn't running when she did, which makes it even worse, considering she dressed up as a cowgirl during her rejection speech. But,
but as part of the progressive tide within the party, they're going to nominate these types around the country.
Incredible. Well, and Brianna, to Rich's point, I mean, it's happening all over. You have a socialist now running for the mayor of our nation's capital of Washington, D.C., to replace the current mayor who's not running against. A socialist now just became the mayor of Jersey City. So you do have the socialists on the march. But again, it's in blue areas. I mean, Washington, D.C., I think votes 90% Democrat all the time. Jersey City hasn't always been Democrat, but mostly it has been, right?
Yeah, I think the socialist wave that we've seen coming towards Democrats has really grown into a socialist tsunami that the Democratic establishment welcomed themselves, because you had an opportunity for Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer this past year to reject candidates like Mamdani. And instead, the party either implicitly or explicitly endorsed Mamdani, which sends the message to other socialists that they are not going to face that intra-party resistance that they may have faced 5 or 10 years ago. And what these socialists are doing is they're laundering this extremism by calling themselves not just socialist, but democratic socialists, to make it seem like they are really just part of the Democratic Party. So it's a problem.
Yeah, but Rich, they use Marxist lingo. I mean, Mamdani in particular, talking about decommodifying housing, which is essentially a Marxist phrase you hear in these fancy schools that we spent $90,000 a year educating our children at. And they learn about economics from Marxist professors who teach them that Marxism, not just Democrat socialism like Norway or something, but hardcore Marxism is the way to go.
Yeah, well, part of the problem here politically is they've latched on to an appealing word, a word that isn't inherently Marxist, which is affordability. We heard it in Jersey City. We're hearing it from this candidate down in D.C. And it's just astonishing to me, David, that we may, with a year or two, in major cities all around the country, just be pining for incompetent left-wing Democrats. You know, where's Bill de Blasio? Where's Muriel Bowser when you need them? Because the party's going further left.
But the interest, just sticking with you for a second, I mean, we're talking about our nation's capitalist capital, New York City, run by a Marxist, not just a socialist, but a Marxist.
And a heavily Jewish city.
And our nation's capital, it could happen to. I mean, these are like not just, Oakland, California, or Chicago, but these are bigger targets.
Yeah, there was a sign a year or two ago, we saw it in San Francisco and other places, that even among progressive voters in these cities, you could push them too far, right? There's human feces on the sidewalk. They're like, no, okay, that goes too far for us, and we need to become more rational. This seems to be a tide in the other direction.
So,
it's very disturbing.
Brianna, we still have a deep backbench of conservatives in the Republican Party who are standing up. But is their message falling flat when you look at the big, shiny socialist element that Democrats have? I'm talking specifically now, not among the committed Democrat socialists, but the independents in particular. The biggest party in America is the independents. It's not an official party, but are they more attracted by the sparkly socialists than they are by conservatives standing up to them?
Mhm. Yeah, I don't think the word socialism carries the same weight of fear that it did for past generations, which is why when Republicans recently passed a resolution condemning socialism, nobody cared. Because when people are hearing 20, 30-second sound bites of AOC, Mamdani, and other socialists, to Rich's point, saying affordability, that's actually pretty reasonable. It's something that they actually feel that tangible. They can feel the affordability crisis, and they say, "I'm going to vote for someone who's reacting to what I'm feeling." That's the problem Republicans have, is the messaging.
There's another story that still has legs, folks, and I want to go to Rich on this one. Donald Trump still is focusing on the AutoPen, and the more we hear about what Biden was doing with the AutoPen, the more ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
Let me just roll Trump's soundbite. Go ahead. Oh, it's a full screen. There we go. This is from Truth Social. Forgive me. Pardons, commutations, or any other legal document so signed, please be advised that said document has been fully and completely terminated and is of no legal effect. Rich, the problem is if Biden says he was aware of these pardons, how do you prove he wasn't?
Yeah, the AutoPen was a travesty. If we all knew that we could just do our jobs through AutoPen, we just would have done it, right? But Joe Biden was president of the United States and doing a large part of his job through AutoPen. But this is a sweeping power the president has. There's no way the courts are going to say Trump can reverse pardons and commutations, even if they were...
Even if it's a total disgrace to the
Yeah.
presidency. I mean, it's just amazing what went on there. And again, the mainstream media isn't reporting any of this. Rich, Brianna, thank you so much. Appreciate you both being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.